It's no secret heart disease is killing us. It's the #1 cause of death. Today we meet a naturopathic physician who has teamed up with a surgeon and a health and science writer to reveal the startling truths about heart disease and the power you hold to stop it. Dr. Brenda Watson, aka the Diva of Digestion, says there is a direct connection between your gut and your heart. Cholesterol is not all bad, inflammation not good, and you may not know you have inflammation. Heart disease is preventable and perhaps reversible. Stay with us for How to Love Your Heart and find out what endothelial dysfunction really means. It is my pleasure to be here with you today and with naturopathic physician Dr. Brenda Watson. Total body health is her passion. She is one of America's foremost authorities on optimum nutrition and digestion. She runs natural health care clinics in the United States and is a New York Times best-selling author. 7 books on digestive health and a new one called Heart of Perfect Health. I was reading your bio and it says that when it comes to poop, colons and digestive disorders, you can give everyone the scoop. And now you're going into the heart?
Yes, I'm going into the heart because the correlation today between the digestive system and a condition we call leaky gut helps you to develop silent inflammation, which I think people understand today. That is the precursor to having heart disease or many other chronic diseases. And the markers that we talk about in the book are high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and high blood sugar. That's the marker. When you have those, you know you have silent inflammation, and that is mostly happens because the gut's out of balance.
Welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Why is inflammation bad?
Well, it's because it is it's chronic. It's, okay, for example, let me give you an example. If you slammed your finger in a door and your finger swelled up, you would know you have acute inflammation and it hurts. But silent inflammation is something that goes on inside of us and is damaging our organs, our heart, and all of that, and we don't always know it. And I think because of the amount of people taking statin medication today, and we know that statin medications don't really lower cholesterol, they lower the inflammation. And I think that's one of the reasons I was able to bring this book about and talk about silent inflammation, and the average person now can understand it, begin to grasp it.
Okay, and is there a personal reason?
Yes, there's a personal reason. I watched a lot of my family members from a child, of course, deal with diabetes, but my husband and my sister, my husband's cholesterol for 10 years yo-yoing all the time, and all of it was related to what he was eating, but he could not stay on a program long enough. He would get the cholesterol down, lose a few pounds, and then he would be right back eating the way he was eating and not taking supplements, and it would go, and I'm talking skyrocketing. I'm not talking about in the the states, his was in the 400 to 500 to 600 range. So it wasn't a little thing, it was a big thing. And so one day I had this talk.
You did.
And I said, this is all preventable and you've got to get this. And that's what we did.
And has he got it?
He got
it. Did he get it? Did he listen to his lovely wife?
Well, I informed him I could not be his health coach because that would just be disastrous for the relationship. But we did get him on a program, and what he started to do is one of the concepts I bring about in the book is counting teaspoons of sugar in your diet and being able to convert your carbs from grams to teaspoons.
That's high math.
No, not really. Look at it this way. In 7 liters of blood, we need 1 teaspoon of sugar in order to be stable.
Okay, how many liters do we have in the human body?
7.
Any idea?
7.
We have 7 liters, so
we
that's
need
it.
1 teaspoon
really?
of sugar.
That's
yes.
not a lot.
No, and over a day, a whole day, we only need about 10 teaspoons in all the foods that we eat, and that's carbs, added sugar, vegetables, and fruits. And the average Canadian gets about probably anywhere from 37 teaspoons a day to 86. That's the problem.
I'm in the grocery store now and I pick up the cracker box or the pasta box and I look on the back and it says Total carbs, dietary fiber, all sorts of things. How do I figure it out?
Well,
sugar.
It's confusing. Like in this box here, in pasta, for example, if you look at your label, and this is the education I'm trying to help people with, is we don't understand grams of carbs. It's just too difficult. And what we do is, if you look at the label, 2 ounces of that pasta, which is like that much, if you take, it's 42 grams of carbs, and it has 2 grams of fiber in it. If you minus that, you come up with 40 grams of carbs. If you divide that by 5, it's 8 teaspoons of sugar. That's all you have to do, is take your carbs minus the fiber, divide it by 5, and you can get your teaspoons of sugar in this. So for example, I'm not necessarily even talking about soda, what we're getting there. This is where we're getting the sugar.
Okay, or wine.
Wine,
or things
but
like that.
But wine's not that bad.
Oh, good.
No, it's
happy to hear that. So wine on the cornflakes.
Yeah,
why not?
Yes.
But I know there's controversy in the United States about labeling, and probably in Canada too. So when it says on the back 2 grams sugars, what does that mean?
It means nothing. You look at that label and you go, oh, 2 grams of sugar in 2 ounces of pasta, that's not very much. But see, they're not showing you what's in the carbs, in terms of, because carbs turn to sugar in our body.
Right.
And that's why we have obesity, Fanny, because people aren't counting this.
You teamed up with Leonard Smith, who's a gastroenterologist. I'm assuming he's a surgeon, and you teamed up with a science writer, Jamie Jones, to put this all together. Where do we start? Let's start with the cholesterol controversy. Good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, how much we have, what we need.
Well, cholesterol is, and I'll give you a really simple thing. Cholesterol is not all bad. Of course, when it's high, what has happened is most people think that you get a lot of cholesterol in the food that you eat. You only get 15% of all the cholesterol in the food you eat. 85% of cholesterol is made in the liver. And the reason cholesterol begins to elevate is because inflammation's beginning to happen somewhere in the body, in the arteries, in the brain, in the digestive tract. And so what happens is the cholesterol begins to elevate. Well, what that is, Fanny, is a signal that something's going on. It's a marker that you're developing inflammation.
What fuels inflammation? What's on the list?
Well, the list that fuels inflammation would be, again, sugar. What fuels it is when the digestive system is out of balance and we have these inflammatory proteins that enter our bloodstream and circulate around the body. We have a lot of times your omega-6, too much omega-6 in the diet. So, you know, the diet is the biggest fuel for inflammation, and sugar is that component of the diet that is the biggest trigger.
Is there a simple thing to do? Eat less, mostly fruits and vegetables. Would that help or not?
Yes, fruits and vegetables, good proteins, quality proteins, and also the other thing you have to look at with the lowering cholesterol and lowering blood pressure is the omega-3 connection, which is usually found in fish oil, which we can talk about. But let's take my husband for example. 40 pounds later, just by counting the teaspoons of sugar in his diet, his cholesterol in 6 weeks went from 486 to 172. No medication, just diet and omega-3s.
Well, as you know, the wise ones say, if you can treat a disease by diet rather than by other means, do it.
Yes, yes. And that's very important. And it's the message in the Heart of Perfect Health, and also blood pressure. If I've got examples in here of blood pressure, going way down with looking at the diet and then the omega-3s. It's just amazing, story after story.
And omega-3s, again, confusing. How much do we need, the average human?
Well, the average human today, we need, in order to prevent heart disease or to reverse heart disease, we need anywhere, they're going to say, from 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams of omega-3, not necessarily fish oil, and I'll explain the difference. And in the book, Heart of Perfect Health, I have 4 cardiologists that I interviewed about. One did the very first open heart surgeries in the United States.
Right.
many years ago. He actually turned, and he's now a preventive cardiologist. Dr. Bill Davis, who wrote the book Wheat Belly, is in the book, and he's a preventive cardiologist. So if you went to a cardiologist who was aware of omega-3s, they would have you on 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day, depending on what your particular condition was. If you're just doing prevention, probably about 3,000 milligrams a day.
Okay, so when you're reading that label,
yes,
I know you've got some capsules there, and there's a bowl of little red ones. What are they?
Well, what happens is, my message is read a label, like learn how to read a label, and omega-3s can be confusing. So if you look at the label and it says on the front, a lot of these labels will say 1,000 milligrams of fish oil, but when you look on the back, in each capsule, you only have 300 milligrams. So it doesn't take much math to know that you would need 10 of those capsules to get your 3,000.
Okay. So read the label for sure.
Right.
And I can't swallow a horse pill. I don't know about you. So I like the smaller capsules,
Right.
but make sure you've got 1,000, you say? 5,000?
It's best to have 1,000 milligrams of omega-3 in each capsule. Like in this capsule, you'd only have to take 3 of those a day. When you get into the smaller capsules, like the krills and these, they only have 100 milligrams of omega-3. You got to take a lot of them.
Right, but they're powerful, right?
Well,
They
they're
work.
good. They're good,
But
yes.
30 pills a day, don't think so. And it's expensive, krill.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Right. Okay, so gut health, that's what we're really talking about, because gut health is linked to heart health.
Right.
You are the digestive queen.
Yeah.
How do you know, aside from the fact that you're burping and swallowing Tums, that you have indigestion?
You know, that's such a great question, Fanny, because in many cases you don't. You don't.
Really?
So many people, I do testing. So I test through a stool test. I test people all the time. And a lot of times people will say to me, well, I have eczema or I have migraine headaches. And they don't have any digestive symptom. But when you do an analysis of them and you look at their test results, their gut's out of balance.
So eczema is an inflammatory disease.
Yes.
Asthma, inflammatory
Yeah.
disease. Most chronic disease, inflammatory. True, not true?
Right. Yes, true. And so getting to the bottom of it is like looking at food, because now we know food triggers many of these conditions. And of course, along with the omega-3, I'm a big proponent of probiotics, because that's where we've lost a lot of the good bacteria. And so we have to replace that, because that's what keeps the, I don't want to say a difficult word, but it keeps the mucosal lining of the gut sort of semi-permeable, like a screen.
Right.
So it doesn't allow these inflammatory proteins to get into the blood. See, your blood ultimately is what is feeding your organs.
Is there a blood test you can take to know?
Yes, absolutely. There's blood tests. There are so many new testings out there. There's also, in the Heart of Perfect Health, new testings you can take to your doctor for your omega-3, for your good and bad cholesterol. There's a lot new out there.
And you said no omega-6. None or what?
No. Low omega-6.
Low.
We get a lot of omega-6 in our diet already.
Okay.
So that's important to watch your, you can go to like coconut oil versus a lot of the vegetable oils. That's a good way to bring down the omega-6.
Right. So fry your little piece of fish with the omega-3s in the coconut oil. Right?
Well, right.
Okay, all right. We'll be back with more How to Save Your Ticker with naturopathic doctor and certified nutritional consultant Brenda Watson, Dr. Brenda Watson.